Dunder Mifflin, this is not what I meant. Welcome everybody to the second episode of this podcast. I'm Anudeep Badyal and I will be exploring the genius of the team behind the hit comedy TV series NBC's The Office. First things first, yes, I am pretty late with this episode, but here I am, and when you make a commitment to yourself, you gotta do it. Love the reception to the first episode on the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. If you haven't checked it out, then please do. It's as weird as the whole series is. Well, without further ado, and as Michael puts it,
all right, everybody in the conference room.
We're gonna talk about the show, and as these meetings usually are, it's not gonna be 5 minutes, you know that. The Office is a mockumentary sitcom television series. Mockumentary or a fictional documentary. I need some stationery. Yeah, that was lame. Fine.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Adapted for American audiences by Greg Daniels as an American version of the British comedy series of the same name written by Ricky Gervais. The show follows the day-to-day lives of office employees in the Scranton, Pennsylvania branch of a regional paper supply company called Dunder Mifflin. The central character in this sitcom is the very eccentric and enthusiastic regional manager and the boss, Michael Scott.
Who is this?
Hello, this is Michael Scott, Regional Manager.
Played by the amazing Steve Carell. This is where the genius of the creators stand out. I mean, it literally is a show about the office employees of a paper supply company. They sell the paper to local businesses and are basically the middlemen in a supply chain.
But then Dunder Mifflin would need to be a front from money laundering, and there's little evidence of that.
Yet it is still so popular. So why a show which has such a textbook definition of a boring premise became a pop culture phenomena? It's the tagline, isn't it? Office work sucks. And that, you guys, opens up avenues of just how relatable the comedy can be. And I'm here to highlight that for you. So let's start with that. We all have this notion of a drab workplace, a boss who's just trying to keep the morale up and makes up these mandated team building events, the dreaded office parties for some, stickler's birthday. You have a colleague who's a total kiss ass and fishes for a promotion and at the same time, ignites a form of microaggression in you. There's always someone who's too chatty, another one who you're always reporting to HR about. Adding to the mix of those, people are those personalities who just want to get their work done and leave as soon as the clock strikes 5. I mean, I'm gonna work, get my money, get the hell out of it. And then there is you, aware that your potentials are being wasted in this mediocre job, and you sure know that you're gonna get out of it someday, right? You're gonna do something, right?
What are you mumbling about?
That's what an office is all about. Only the office is much more than that. See what I did there? Steve Carell brings to the table Michael Scott, a boss who loves the company and the workplace and the people in it. Right off the bat, you know that Michael is gonna be that guy.
I don't care if you are gay or straight or a lesbian or overweight. Just get in here right now.
And on an unrelated note, loves to mix professional and personal lives. Talking about the employees from the sales team, there is Dwight Schrute, the assistant to the regional manager, and also the best salesperson. For Dwight, the ends always justify the means.
For your information, I'm being sabotaged.
Of course.
And I'm going to find that person and punish them.
Absolutely.
Remaining salespeople comprise of Jim, Phyllis, Stanley, and other on and off characters. There is also a trio of accountants made up of Angela, Kevin, and Oscar, though Angela knows that only, two people can manage this department. Angela is the judgmental one, Kevin's a bit slow and would spoil a good sexual innuendo, and Oscar is the Mr. Smarty Pants. The whole set of characters, including Creed, Meredith, Kelly, Ryan, Toby, Daryl, and Roy from the warehouse, and the lovable receptionist Pam, bring distinct societal personalities covering the nuances of almost all the kinds of people you have ever met. These characters coming to this dead-end place knowing that there is not going to be an organic growth for them. It's a dying industry, a paper supply company, right? There's not much room for growth. They all have this dead-end job of being an accountant or being a customer care rep, a salesperson or a receptionist or being in quality assurance, and they just want to earn money and get out of there. And then you have Michael Scott, the boss,
I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is.
conducting these needless meetings or some events, and it's very much like ordinary shenanigans that you might have in your office. In middle of a normal day, okay, it makes for a lot of awkward and dry humor moments where you have the boss or a colleague inadvertently expose their sexism and discrimination, and you just stand there looking at them because at that moment you see that the person is so ignorant and has such orthodox views which cannot fly. As the audience, when you see that happen, you're going to laugh at it. And you're going to think that there is no way that if somebody says something like that today, they'd be able to get away with it. No way. Because today, we are holding people accountable for what they say. And being offensive is not funny. And it wasn't funny even then in 2005 when the show came out. So it kind of plays in a dangerous territory, but the characters themselves show their disdain for us, which ultimately becomes hilarious.
This has been the worst, most backwards day of my life.
As the show progresses, the backstories of the people working there comes to light, and you start seeing it as more than just a workplace sitcom. And you start to connect to people more than their jobs. They're not just that one-dimensional person you thought them to be, They have things going on with them that just doesn't conform to their arc. Mind you, it's not a drama, it still is a sitcom, but you have these little dialogues that serve as exposition, giving us just hints of what the character is like in their after-work life. Talking about the crew behind the show, amazing writing by Greg Daniels, Michael Schur, who is also the person behind Parks and Recreation, The Good Place, and Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and some writers who are also cast in this show as long-running characters like Toby Flenderson, the HR rep played by Paul Lieberstein, who Michael absolutely hates. The temp, Ryan Howard, played by BJ Novak, who Michael absolutely loves. BJ Novak was actually the first person to be cast in the show. Mindy Kaling, who plays Kelly Kapoor, the chatty customer care rep. Mindy also has a new show on Netflix called Never Have I Ever. So, with this amazing team of writers, you're in for the ride when you watch The Office. There's also improvisation that goes on in an episode, and you see how the tight-knit relations of the actors and the crew slides into the show when they bring their chemistry to the screen.
We are a family here.
It just plays out very smoothly, and this interdependence between actors when you're doing a comedy show becomes essential to the process of the right timing, and it is just plain beautiful. You have this feeling when you see the show that it is a paper company. How did they make it so hilarious? It's the misadventures in all these episodes that serves as a pool of jokes and connect all the characters in the unsaid constitution of the workplace ethic.
What was that?
Wow. That was Dwight. He seems upset about something.
Describe him exactly. What color mustard is his shirt? Yellow or Dijon?
It is. Oh, spicy brown, actually.
these ordinary and simple little things in your life, you start appreciating them as you will do anything to escape the monotony. And that is what the characters do in the show. Especially the central characters of Michael, Dwight, Jim, and Pam. And as the show progresses, the connections between the people, the relationships grow. And one major relationship we can talk about is the one between the main love interests of the show, Jim Halpert and Pam Beasley. Jim, played by John Krasinski, and Pam, played by Jenna Fisher, have great chemistry and have a really slow burning romance. But then it is also very sweet and very lifelike, and the little things that they do for each other, it's so beautiful and definitely worth all the awes. This podcast is called This Is Not What I Meant, and I stand by it. And what I mean by this is not what I meant is that not everything is like what it seems. So when I talk about the pauses in the show in a verbal exchange, it has a lot of subtext. And the real information, or in this case, the depth of the joke, is buried in the pauses that are a result of the mockumentary style of the series. You have a socio-political joke, which is not in good taste, resulting in this dry, uncomfortable dialogue. The real punchline is the pause or the look they give to the cameraman, or on a broader note, you, and then the joke lands.
Well, you always left me satisfied and smiling, so...
That's what she said.
Michael, please.
There he is.
Please.
Mwah!
Come on.
The very first episode, as Dunder Mifflin Scranton branch was approached for this documentary, not a real company, guys, there are cameras all around. And the employees are aware of the cameras. And so you have these looks the characters give to the lens whenever something weird, socially unspeakable incident happens. So that is something to look forward to when you watch the show. The characters know when they're on camera. Sometimes they may forget and notice it after doing something embarrassing. And the camera becomes a character of its own in the show, being a friend to someone like Jim, who always gives the best, quote, "What just happened?" / "Did you see that?" end quote face. Or being an all-seeing eye for someone like Angela or Jan, who are caught off guard in a compromising position. Big Brother is watching you all. You are there with them, watching them from one corner of the office or another, and they know that. So the real punchline in any of their jokes is that it is happening in front of us, and it is inappropriate, and they acknowledge that it's inappropriate, and that makes for an incredible show where fourth wall breaking is also a central character. This comes as a benefit of the documentary style shooting of the show. There is no studio audience, which means that there are no laugh tracks that can fill in the pauses. So the silence just looms over the whole show for a second or two for you, the viewer, to take in the dialogue and thus the layered joke with it. I think this is the best thing that I love about the show, that it relishes in this style of social awkwardness, which is all too known to all of us, and gives us space to appreciate the genius writing of the show, thus lending to it the memorable moments and scenes which stay with us forever. The Office for me is that one show that I can watch again and again because of the bond you form with the characters, and it really takes the "oh no" in monotony away. If you start enjoying it, I guarantee you it's gonna be with you forever. So that was it. That wraps it up for NBC's The Office. I hope you enjoyed that weird take about the cameras in the review. I don't know what I'm talking about. I usually do. But this was fun for me to write, and fun and difficult for me to write, because I just love this show. I'm a big fan. And I didn't take most of the things that normally people talk about, that is, this is what, well, that's what she said, or, you know, jokes or the cold opens that people describe, because you can find it anywhere on the net, and this was something that I needed to say about the show. So there it is, out on wherever it's published. So yeah, it was a good take from my side. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna give a pat on my back. Right, this was fun, and see you next time. Keep listening to This Is Not What I Meant. I'm Anudeep Padyal, and thank you.